This is the VEX VR Disk Mover Level 2 program. In the previous program, we moved color disks in one row back and forth. In this program, we're being asked to move one disk of its color back to its square in each of the rows. So as we come over here, you can see I use some coding here of my comments for my pseudocode to say this is my blue, this is my red, and this is my green. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to drive forward. I can see that I'm 4 squares forward, so that would be each square is 200 millimeters, so of course that's 800 millimeters. And just like in the past program, the next thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to energize that magnet. So I'm going to energize that magnet, and then that'll pick it up. So I'm going to then come over and drive in reverse that same 800 millimeters. Then I'm going to energize my magnet to drop that blue disk. So now I need to do is make my way over to that red disk. So to do that, I'm going to turn right 90 degrees. And I'm going to follow that same protocol to get there. I'm going to drive forward. Again, I can see that's 4 squares, so that's, oh, I'm actually putting those pieces of code in the wrong spot. Should be underneath red. I'm going to drive forward 800 millimeters. Now I need to make that left-hand turn so I can face forward in that row. So I'm going to turn left at my 90 degrees, and then it is that same piece of coding that I just had written. So to save myself some time, I'm going to duplicate that there. I'll drop it over here. Now I know I'm going to need this piece of code again for my last row, so I'm just going to duplicate again and pick off of that. So you can see I have that loaded now, and I'm back and I've dropped off my red disk in this center section. So just like the previous one, I'm going to need to make a right-hand turn, drive forward, and so on. So I actually can delete this piece of code here that I was going to use, and I can realize that, you know what, my piece of coding for this red section is going to be identical for my green section. So I've dropped it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this section of code. So an easier way to create this little piece of code. Now, if this was a much longer program, I could actually create this as a function here and then call it as a function to create this coding. But because it's a relatively short piece of code, there's really no need to create that as a function. But we can see as my disk mover moves through, again turns right, and we'll follow that motion. So as we go over and take a look at level 3 then, level 3 asks you to pick up all 3 and return one red or one blue one to each of the colored squares, one red one to each of the colored squares, and one green one to the colored squares. I will not be doing a video for this challenge, so this way you can practice and progress and figure out if you need to write functions or how you want to tackle that problem. As again, even this problem, there's multiple ways that you could approach it.